thank you for joining me here this morning. The time is currently 11:56 a.m. Central on June 2nd, 2024, and you have a live look at a severe thunderstorm currently impacting Anadarko, Oklahoma. Now, this is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing hail up to quarter size and damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. So if you are included in this severe thunderstorm warning, you need to make sure that you are moving indoors immediately. This includes portions of Interstate 44 like Elgin, Lawton, all the way up there towards areas near 9Ka, and as well as it goes out here towards areas like Anadarko, Apache, Fort Cobb, all the way out towards Washita, close to Carnegie. So again, if you're included in this severe thunderstorm warning, you need to make sure that you're moving indoors immediately, as that's a very dangerous storm right there to be outside during. So that's what we have going on right now. We really don't have any other severe weather threat currently, but what I will say is later into this evening, we're going to be talking about a widespread severe weather outbreak once again across portions of Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, and Colorado here, as we are expecting numerous strong to severe storms to develop across portions of the Great Plains here, some of which are going to be capable of producing damaging winds, large hail, and maybe an isolated tornado or two. So we're going to have to watch that threat very closely once again as we head into the afternoon and evening time hours. But right now, up in Nebraska, we just have a couple of stronger storms, and actually that's good for these areas that they are currently impacting, because these are going to kind of suck all the nice, juicy atmospheric features that we have out here near St. Paul, Palmer, Central City, and Grand Island, Nebraska. So if you're getting storms right now in Nebraska, that's actually good, because that lowers your chances of getting the higher impact storms that we're expecting to come in later. So maybe that will mean that we'll just have this kind of be isolated down to areas west of Grand Island. We may even see the Storm Prediction Center shrink this enhanced risk, as this morning round of convection was a little bit unexpected here. So some of that, once again, that nice, juicy atmospheric fuel out here that the storms just love to suck up is going to be gone by the time the next round of storms arrives. Again, the one bringing the higher impact. So again, if you're off to the east of this line, you're likely getting some, or at least nearby, some showers and thunderstorms, and that's good, because that means that's going to lower your chance for this evening's round of big-time storms to really make high impacts on that area. But again, we're really worried about areas in central Nebraska back through northeast Colorado, just a sliver of South Dakota there, and then also portions of northwestern Kansas. As we go into this evening, around 8 and 9 p.m., we're going to be talking about the threat for, once again, some very destructive supercells to be impacting portions of the plains. Once again, right now, the only severe thunderstorm that we currently have is actually all the way back down in Oklahoma here. This is going to be heading towards downtown Oklahoma City, okay? Now, this is moving off towards the northeast at 35 miles per hour here, so let's kind of check more of the exact track here. Okay, so I kind of see that. Let's go ahead and drag this out and kind of talk about some of the areas that are going to get hit by this and when you're going to get hit by this. So let's go and drag that out there, 35 miles per hour. So, Verdon, you got about 19 minutes, all right? If you're in Verdon, you make sure that you're getting indoors immediately. Pocasset, you got about 35 minutes. Amber, 40 minutes. Sooner, 47 minutes. Minko, 49 minutes. Bridge Creek, 57 minutes. Union City, an hour. Tuttle, an hour. Newcastle, 68 minutes. Mustang, 69 minutes. And then Oklahoma City, downtown, is going to be in the track of this in about an hour and a half. So again, if you're in downtown Oklahoma City, right now everything is clear, but you are included in this severe thunderstorm watch. So that means you need to be alert over the next several hours for rapidly changing weather conditions and potential severe thunderstorms and tornadoes to develop in this area. Let me go ahead and pull up Stream Chat here. If anybody has any questions about their location, feel free to leave those down below, because this is a very widespread event today. We are talking about a slight risk of severe weather extending all the way from Mexico back into Canada. That's how widespread of an area we're talking about today. Anybody in the Great Plains needs to be on making sure they are on their game today. You know, they have multiple ways to receive weather alerts. They know what the forecast is for their area, because there is a good chance that we do see a couple of tornadoes out there today once again, especially in areas like Nebraska, South Dakota, Kansas, Colorado. But again, tornadoes cannot be ruled out as far south as Mexico and as far north as Canada, okay? So if we take a look at the tornado outlook here from the Storm Prediction Center, we can see currently it's on the lower side side of things, it's a little bit more conservative. We had 2 spots with a 5% risk, one of them being centered back down here in the Texas Panhandle near Amarillo and Lubbock, and the other being up here in portions of Nebraska, Kansas, and Colorado. Areas like McCook, North Platte, and Kearney are included in that, okay? So if you're in those brown areas, you have a 5% chance to see a tornado within 25 miles of any given point. Basically, what that means is you have a 5% chance to see a tornado in your town. Again, in Kansas and Nebraska, this includes areas in between Interstate 70 and Interstate 80. In portions of Texas, this includes areas along Interstate 27 near Amarillo and Lubbock. So, again, that's what we're going to be talking about later today. But right now, our threat is centered down to portions of the Red River Valley. Areas like Oklahoma and Texas, again, do currently have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect. So, we need to be on alert here for all these areas that are in the path of some of these more dangerous storms out there. I'm not expecting, again, too much of a tornado threat with our morning round of storms. I really would be honestly kind of shocked at this point if our morning round of storms produce a tornado, but some damaging winds and large hail, again, cannot be ruled out. We do have a cyclone port out here in German, Texas that, surprise, surprise, is back. It disappeared for like a few months. It was my favorite cyclone port because it's in like the best spot for all these severe weather events in the plains. But it is back now, so luckily we have that there. Now, unfortunately, we're not really allowed to use it. Radar Omega made it clear that these cyclone ports are not meant to be broadcasted without the owner's permission, so I'm not going to have that down in the bottom left-hand corner of my screen like I used to do. If anybody's wondering why I stopped doing that, that's why. But anyway, let's go back over here to our storm near Anadarko. Again, this is continuing to produce a damaging wind and large hail threat. It's looking like they're actually going to keep this at a special weather statement here because they've issued a special weather statement ahead of the severe thunderstorm warning for 50-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail, but both those threats are extremely close to severe limits, so you might as well just treat this like a severe thunderstorm warning if you're out here in Chickasha, Ninecaw, Blanchard, Tuttle, Minco, or Gracemont. Again, make sure that you are moving indoors immediately. This does not include downtown Oklahoma City yet, but it's getting close. It goes all the way out towards Mustang and Newcastle. So again, Oklahoma City, you got about an hour and 15 minutes now until this severe thunderstorm is in your vicinity, okay? So you got to look out for that. We have a special weather statement on the southern side of the storm here. That's for the threat of 50-mile-per-hour winds and nickel-sized hail to the north of Wichita Falls and to the south of Lawton and everywhere in between there. So if you're in this area, again, make sure that you are moving indoors immediately, as that is a strong thunderstorm out there right now impacting the areas like North Texas and southern Oklahoma. So yeah. But anyway, back out here to our severe storm currently kind of riding Interstate 44 near Elgin. Again, this is continuing to produce a damaging wind and large hail threat for the Elgin area. So if you're in this area, again, you need to make sure that you are moving indoors immediately. So anyway, how much sound it is? My audio good? Is it too loud? Is it too quiet? Is it just right? Is my mic peaking? Everybody just let me know. I very much would appreciate it. While we're here kind of waiting for some more stuff to pop off, let's kind of talk about the timing for this event. So if we take a look at the NAM here, we can see that, here, let's go and switch over to the reflectivity. We can see that this morning they were predicting some showers and thunderstorms across parts of the plains, and they got that almost spot on. They were predicting for about this time frame right here. This is almost the exact minute that they were predicting. They were saying there would be some stronger storms down here in North Texas and Central Texas even, as well as some stronger storms in southern Kansas, and they got that almost spot on, alright? I will say they were painting a lot of the convection actually pretty far south of where it's actually ended up happening here. It's mainly actually in Oklahoma, but not too bad of a forecast there by the NAM, and then by about 2 to 3 p.m. we can actually see some stronger storms develop all the way up into North Dakota here that, again, could bring a threat for some damaging winds and large hail. We can also see some of our big-time storms out here developing in southern Wyoming. Now, they don't look like anything impressive while they're out here in southern Wyoming, but, again, these are going to be the ones. Whenever they move into Nebraska and Kansas, they're going to produce a serious severe weather threat, and if we get something like this where it can become super disruptive, discrete like this, a cell like this is what I could imagine could cause a lot of problems in terms of damaging winds, large hail, and possibly, again, even a tornado, maybe even an isolated, moderately strength tornado. I'm not really expecting too much of a strong tornado threat today, but an isolated strong tornado cannot be ruled out. I'll just say that much. Again, the main area where we're going to be concerned about tornadoes is here, where we got a lot of discrete activity popping off, but I will say up here in areas like South Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa, the damaging wind threat is going to be much higher, so we're going to have kind of a linear system develop around the Sioux Falls area, and it's going to head southeast towards Sioux City here. So very interesting setup here for today's severe weather event. Again, we're talking about an all hazards in place scenario. So again, if anybody has any questions about their location, feel free to leave those down below, because we have a huge risk of severe weather today, and by that I mean a very large area with a risk. We have like 40 million people under at least a marginal risk of severe weather today from the Storm Prediction Center here. So it's a big day for severe weather. It really is. But yeah. Airborne, I'm going to go and pin your message there. Thank you. So, again, one of our stronger storms up here in Nebraska right now is centered around the Fullerton area. Not seeing too much impressive activity up here. Maybe some gusty winds. Let's see what it's warned for. Yeah, 40-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail up here. But at this point, honestly, this special weather statement could probably be removed and everything would be A-okay, because these storms have lost a lot of their steam over the last several minutes here. You're back. Remember? Yeah, I do remember you. Yep. So, again, right now, the main area of storms that we're watching is kind of centered around Interstate 44 here, heading for Oklahoma City. But, again, we are also watching some stronger storms currently impacting areas of Nebraska as well here. And we are also watching some storms. Actually, I haven't mentioned these yet, but we do have some down here in the Deep South that are strong to severe at times. They're not really going to produce too much of a mega severe risk. There's not going to be a tornado threat with any of them, but like these down here in the Florida Panhandle could be your typical garden variety storms. Could dump some heavy rainfall, maybe some gusty winds, a little bit of small hail. Wouldn't surprise me. Is this Radar Omega? Yes, it is. Some of these storms out here in portions of northwest Texas could also be producing some heavy rainfall. And the thing with these is these are like, big beefy cells out here, right? They're not producing any sort of severe risk right now, but I will say it's a decently large area that these storms are going to hit, just because it's such a large system right here. This is near Crowell and Paducah. This is moving off to the east here, east-northeast. It's going to be heading for Highway 70 soon towards Chillicothe, Quanah, Vernon, eventually going to cross over the Red River Valley into Oklahoma if they last long enough, which I imagine they will, as again, they look like big storms out there right now in northwest Texas. Again, right now, not a lot going on in central Texas like the NAM was forecasting. If we go ahead and take a look at the HRRR here, we can kind of see it's painting a little bit of a different picture here. It was kind of saying, hey, we're going to have kind of some off and on supercells all up and down this line here from North Dakota back into Oklahoma here. And I will say this one was honestly a little bit more accurate this time around than the NAM was. And they're saying that by this afternoon, we're going to see some more of those supercells continue. Mainly at this point, though, it's going to be isolated down to portions of North Texas and southern Oklahoma. But around 3 p.m., once again, it's showing the same exact thing as the NAM, where we've got some of those stronger supercells starting to pop off there in portions of southern Wyoming. And again, they don't really start to intensify until we get into the evening time hours as they enter areas like Nebraska and South Dakota here. kind of got a cluster of strong to severe storms here. Again, if any of these become discrete enough, they're going to have the very real potential to produce a tornado. Again, I think the highest tornado threat is going to be kind of concentrated around this area here. But the Storm Prediction Center, again, only has us at a 5% risk right now, which I think is probably the best decision. You can also notice something interesting. The HRRR is also showing some supercells up here, all the way up into North Dakota and Minnesota. So some of these, again, while they're mainly going to be producing a damaging wind and large hail risk, could even try and produce an isolated tornado. Again, the threat's not very high by any means necessary, but I wouldn't rule out an isolated storm that, gets the tornado possible tag off of a severe thunderstorm warning there if it just starts to have some signs of rotation. You finally got Radar Omega, that's good. And now we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. That is for areas of the southwest of Oklahoma City. So I figured they were going to drop this, but they actually have continued it. So this does include downtown Moore, Newcastle, Bridge Creek, Blanchard, Tuttle, and Mustang. So if you're included in this severe thunderstorm warning, make sure that you are moving indoors immediately. This is for northern Grady County, southwestern Oklahoma County, northwestern Cleveland County, southeastern Canadian County, and northwestern McLean County in central Oklahoma. Again, that's an extension here for our storm near Chickasha. And kind of riding Interstate 44 here. SPC has been absolutely cranking out the day 4 to 5 outlooks. Yeah, because there's just been so much confidence recently with a lot of these severe weather events. But you'll notice we don't actually have any day 4 or 5 outlooks today because a lot of the severe weather threat that we've been seeing here over the past couple of months that's just been absolutely ridiculous is going to kind of die off. But I will say, while it is going to die off, it's also going to move. It's going to head towards areas like the Great Lakes and the Midwest here. Now, again, that does not mean that we're going to see anything near the intensity of what we've been seeing here over the past couple of months in the plains. I don't think we will, but I will say there's going to be a severe weather threat here starting to shift closer to the Midwest over the next few days as our trough kind of moves off to the east. Again, areas like the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley can expect some of that to be in the forecast for the next few days. Some of those severe storms potentially. And we do have a new mesoscale discussion from the Storm Prediction Center. There is a 60% chance of either a severe thunderstorm or tornado watch being issued between now and 2 p.m. Central for portions of northwest Texas as well as the southern portion of the Texas Panhandle, as thunderstorms are likely along and near a remnant outflow boundary this afternoon. The outflow boundary currently is sitting across portions of north-central Texas, which again is going to allow some severe weather to develop in portions of northwest Texas as well as the southern portion of the Texas Panhandle. I'm trying to bring that up on your screen, but it doesn't want to work, so I guess I'm not going to do that. It says unable to connect. I don't know why. Sometimes it just decides it doesn't want to work, so that's just neat. It's just nifty. So again, right now, here's your kind of cluster/line of severe thunderstorms impacting portions of southwestern and central Oklahoma. Random thing, mild sauce and ranch is amazing. That is kind of random, but I might try that sometime. That actually sounds kind of good. The combination of sweet and savory is an underrated one. Y'all ever had a maple bacon donut? Phenomenal. Best donut you'll ever have. So again, if you're just now joining us, we do have quite a few severe thunderstorms right now. Actually, it's mainly just one severe thunderstorm that's impacting areas to the southwest of Oklahoma City here, producing some damaging winds and large hail towards areas along Interstate 44, like Tuttle, Chickasha, Ninca, and Blanchard in southern and central Oklahoma here. So if you're in this area, again, make sure that you are moving indoors immediately, as that is a very strong storm out there, currently impacting areas in central Oklahoma, again, mainly off to the southwest of Oklahoma City, but this will move into downtown Oklahoma City within the next hour or so, the hour and 15 minutes or so. Again, we got our big cluster of big boy storms out here near Paducah and Quanah, as well as Crowell, Texas, that currently isn't producing any sort of severe weather hazard, but it is producing maybe some gusty winds, some small hail, and a bunch of heavy rainfall all up and down here along this cell, currently impacting, once again, areas in northwest Texas, kind of in the Four Corners area of these counties. Not sure what counties these are, though, off the top of my head. I don't have every county in the United States memorized. So again, just not tuning in, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for parts of the Red River Valley here, as well as a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for portions of southwestern and central Oklahoma here, as we have some pretty strong storms out there right now, actually, across parts of, once again, North Texas and southern Oklahoma here. Areas like Lawton, Wichita Falls, Oklahoma City, Paducah. All you guys are getting some of these stronger storms out there right now. What do you think for Lincoln, Nebraska for severe weather? And do you think that's mainly going to be a line of storms that moves through? So Lincoln is included in the slight risk of severe weather here, but you're just barely not in the enhanced risk. You're right along the cusp there. You might as well treat it like you're in the enhanced risk, because how the SPC scale works is if you're in there, that's a 30% chance of whatever within 25 miles of any given point, and you're within 25 miles of any given point in the enhanced risk. So you might as well treat it like you're in the enhanced risk here, and I actually do think that the Lincoln area is going to have a little bit less of a chance of some of that severe weather, though, because as we talked about just a few minutes ago, some of these showers and thunderstorms out here in parts of southeast Nebraska are going to kind of steal all the storm juice out here, all the instability, and kind of make things a little less intense during the evening time hours for that next round of storms, is my guess here. So we can kind of take a look at Lincoln and see that around here. Let's kind of play things out. We're not expecting too much for the Lincoln area. Originally, the NAM was painting some of these supercells getting pretty close to Lincoln, but even those don't really look severe in my opinion. Maybe some large hail, though. Even before this unexpected activity swept through portions of southeastern Nebraska, the NAM is really painting that Lincoln dodges most of this. Now, that's not a guarantee. Obviously, the NAM's not perfect, but it's a real possibility that Lincoln doesn't get anything. Gonna get your ramen ready while watching my stream? Okay, sounds good. But yeah, I mean, if we take a look here at the NAM, we can see that, again, originally it wasn't painting too much convection this morning and this afternoon for this area, but because a couple of these strong storms have popped off unexpectedly, that's going to steal some of the storm juice out of here in eastern Nebraska. We still could have some strong storms fire off. There's still going to be probably just enough instability out here for some of those to kind of initiate, but I don't think they're going to be quite as intense as they could have been if you had asked me this a few hours ago. But once again, I mean, that cluster/line of storms there that's going to sweep through Sioux Falls looks relatively intense. Another one that's going to sweep through Fargo actually looks pretty intense. It's going to definitely have that damaging wind threat associated with it. We can kind of see that develop around 6 p.m., and it really doesn't dissipate until, a good 1 a.m. or so. So it'll be interesting to see that stretches all the way into Canada, back into portions of the Dakotas here. So anyway, Again, if you're just not joining us, we are looking at a severe thunderstorm moving towards downtown Oklahoma City here. This storm is going to be capable of producing quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour damaging wind gusts. So if you're in this area, make sure that you're moving indoors immediately, as far out as Moore, Oklahoma. This is actually interesting. The Storm Prediction Center has their thunderstorm outlook out. Now, there's a difference between the thunderstorm outlook and the severe weather outlook from the SPC. Here, let me try and pull it up on your screen. For some reason, it doesn't work. So if I can't pull it up on your screen, then there's no point in me even talking about this. I don't think we can access it through Radar Omega, and I can't screencast right now for some reason. Let's see here. Yeah, I really don't think that I can, unfortunately. I don't know why it doesn't want to screen mirror, but it just doesn't, so that's cool, I guess. Yeah, unable to connect to iMac. Yeah, I don't know, but the SPC has issued their 1630Z thunderstorm outlook, and they're pinning a 70% risk of thunderstorms. So basically, if you were to open up your weather app or something, just weather.com, AccuWeather, it would likely tell you that there's about a 70% chance of storms for areas like Bismarck, North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota, Grand Rapids, North Dakota, Aberdeen, South Dakota, and Valentine, Nebraska. All you guys, it would likely say something around a 70% chance of storms. At least that's what the Storm Prediction Center in particular is saying. So there's that. But anyway. Oh, wait. Oh, what? I'm trying to AirPlay, but it's being very, very bad right now, actually. Well, no, it thinks that I'm AirPlaying. That's why it doesn't want to connect to my computer, so I can't screen mirror. I'm not AirPlaying anything, though. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, are you gonna work now? Now that you know that I'm not AirPlaying? No, you're not gonna work. That's just phenomenal. Well, anyway. It's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is on the level of the Lubbock Storm, Whale VR. This is not anywhere near the Lubbock Storm, in fact. The Lubbock Storm was a whole different breed. It was massive. I mean, we were talking 90-mile-per-hour winds. It was insane. This one, first of all, was more expected. We were expecting to see some cells in this area, or in this general vicinity anyway, and they're not nearly as intense. So it's kind of two different levels of severe weather. This is like, I'd say this is like level, if it works on a 10-level scale of severe weather, with 1 being an ordinary severe thunderstorm, like just one severe thunderstorm, quarter-sized hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and level 10 being 100-mile-per-hour winds and DVD-sized hail, this would have to be, like a 2 or a 3 on the scale, because it's really only one cell that's currently severe. The other are just special weather statement warned. And the Lubbock Storm, I'd put that at like a 6 or a 7. But again, remember, 10 is like the most intense storm you can possibly experience. But I mean, really, if we're just talking about like general thunderstorms rather than a severe thunderstorm scale, that Lubbock Storm would have had to have been on like a 9 or a 10. Like one of the most intense storms you'll ever experience in your lifetime if you got hit by that. If not the most intense. Which I know, I get it, it's Texas, but still, that kind of event does not happen often, especially whenever we're not expecting it. Which, by the way, after I ended stream yesterday and I couldn't go live again, we had a 100-mile-per-hour severe thunderstorm warning in Texas, I think. Wonder what radar Europe uses, since it seems only Germany and the UK have them. Well, I mean, Europe is basically outside of the United States. Weather is so much worse. Like forecasting weather, and even like looking at live weather is so much worse everywhere else outside of the United States, which is why we focus solely on the United States as well. Another reason being because I have the most United States viewers out of any country, but there's no real good way to cover severe weather ongoing in portions of Africa or South America or Australia or Europe or Germany. Or Germany, that's not a continent. Oh gosh, Germany's in Europe. Yes, I know that. But Asia, and it's different. I was naming continents, and then I just say Europe, or I say Germany. No, Europe is a continent. I swear I'm smart. Allegedly. By the way, things are heating up out here in California. Look at this. Mount Shasta got feet of snow, it feels like, every single day during the winter. It's already melted down to there. It is kind of beautiful to look at, though. I looked at it yesterday whenever it wasn't super overcast and windy like this, and it was even better looking. So, anyway. I think that we are going to end off the live stream here, considering we don't have any active tornado warnings or tornadoes on the ground, and we only have one severe thunderstorm at the moment. We're going to end off things here. I want to thank you all for tuning in. We will be live again later, covering severe weather in parts of Nebraska, South Dakota, Colorado, and Kansas. So come back later. But yeah, I mean, until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.